Thank you very much. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have a short breaks in between. You are tuned in to David Essel's Life Coach Certification Level 1. For everyone at home, you should have the manual. You should be working through it. We're on page 8 or so right now, and of course you have the book. For our Facebook Live people, this is just a chance to see what the heck's going on when you take a Life Mastery Life Coach Certification Level 1. Level 1, 50% of people that take the course do it to shatter their blocks in life, their frustrations, their habits that aren't serving them. And then the other 50% take this course to go on to Level 2 and 3 to become Master Certified Life Coaches. For those at home, you have the same opportunity. We're having a great time here. We have a group of very photogenic people that have opted out to be not photogenic today. And so, but just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not all gorgeous, beautiful, handsome, and more. And they're saying keep going, keep talking about them. Okay, so we've been working today on, and we're just into this whole phase about communication. The power of a great coach is being a great communicator. The power of a great lover, of a great parent, of a great owner of a business, of a great anything is being a great communicator. Okay, this is where it all is. Everything is about communication. We are teaching you today how to be a great communicator by not giving answers to your children, your employees, your lovers. You know, like they don't want to know the answer. They'll come to you and say, I don't know what to do with Sam. He did this again. And you go, oh, I know what to do. They don't want to hear what you have to say.
What if you really do want to know the answer?
Yes.
Okay, that's a great question.
It's hard for me to ask. It's hard for me to ask for help, and sometimes I really do want to know.
Okay, then what I would say is this. That you say to someone, I really need your opinion on something. Okay, I really need your help. And do you often ask people for help? Okay, the odds are that they'll be tuned into you then. It's the person that cries wolf, the person that constantly comes and asks for help, they're the ones that don't not want your help and need it. If you're a rare bird that you rarely ever ask for help, then that's probably something in the subconscious blocking you from, I mean, I could be wrong.
But how do we discern that from, say, you know, when somebody's asking you for help, if they truly want?
Okay, it's a great question, Dan. How do you know that someone really wants to help? And this is what we do. We ask them, would you really like my help 3 times? That's the key. So someone comes to you and says, hey, I really need your opinion on this. And you go, well, would you rather me just listen to what you're going through, or would you really like my help? And would you like me to give? No, I really want your help. Okay, now, when I give you my help, I'm going to ask you to pull out a pencil and paper and jot down what I'm going to share with you, because you don't trust your brain. You know, the odds of remembering this stuff is, so grab your pen and paper. You'll know if they're serious. If they go, oh, no, I'll remember, then you know they're not really interested in your help. Does that make sense? Okay. But if you say to them, hey, I'd love to, and you're asking them for the 3rd time, I'd love to give you some help. You seem really sincere and serious, so grab a pen and paper and let me give you your thoughts. Go ahead and ask me, what's your first question? Now you know they're serious. 90% of people aren't like Michaela. They won't be serious, and so they won't take out a pen and paper, and they'll go, oh, no, just go ahead. But if Michaela's asking for help, and you go, okay, I'll tell you what, grab your pen and paper and throw your questions and let me do my very best to help you. And she starts writing down stuff, and then at the end of it, I would say, Michaela, of the 3 or 4 ideas I gave you, which one resonates the most? And she might go, none. Or she might go, you know, I think number 2. Read back to me number 2. What'd you write down? I just want to make sure that you heard exactly what I said for number 2. And she reads it back. Now, this seems like a really drawn-out process, right? But it's not. For someone who really wants help, they're going to do everything you're asking them, because they really want to change. They're not asking for help just to have conversation. They're not asking for help because they really want you to think that they need your help. They are serious now. They're writing stuff down. In the world of, people become coaches in the world, this is what we do. We ask them to come prepared. We give them homework assignments. They come prepared. We give them more homework assignments. If someone doesn't come in with their preparation, then I know they're not serious about change. Right?
Is it okay to give somebody like an observation about if they are doing the same mistake over and over again and you have an opinion?
If they've asked you 3 times for your opinion,
if they do not ask,
I wouldn't give it.
it's not even. It's like you're trying to help somebody who's close to you, and you see they're doing the same mistake over and over again. How do you react? You don't? You talk about the weather?
If,
Good question.
you know, if people are repeating a pattern that's unhealthy over and over and over again, the odds of them taking unsolicited opinions and doing something with it is outrageously tiny. You know, unsolicited help is just really rare. I mean,
Perhaps you ask them if they recognize a pattern,
Right.
and you ask them the questions that will bring that out of them. If you see some, and I think that, for me anyways, when I'm dealing with my employees or something, and I see something and I want to help them, immediately I go into my brain going, what question can I ask them that's going to give the answer that I want to give them?
okay, and that is the ultimate, is you're asking a question to get them engaged and involved and empowered.
Right.
You're making them think. You're bringing them into a level, and this is where it gets so dangerous with giving someone advice. Unless they're asking, and we say 3 times, if you see someone, they have a hangover every Saturday, and they're always late on Saturday lunch because they have a hangover. Well, you could say, hey, I got to tell you something. Every Saturday when we're supposed to meet for lunch, you're always 30 minutes late. And you have shared with me in the past the reason is because you love going out on Friday nights. I'm really challenged with this. So if you'd like, I could give you some thoughts. Maybe we should start getting together on Sundays for lunch because Saturdays isn't working for me. You're not coming out and telling them they need to quit drinking. Mm-hmm. You're just saying this isn't working for me. And usually when you say something isn't working, we have to come up with a different pattern because what we're doing isn't working. What do you think would be the best thing for us to do to make it work where you're going to be on time? Should we choose another day? Should we choose a different time? So you're asking questions to get them to go deeper and to come up with solutions. Remember, unsolicited advice is rarely ever taken seriously. I can think of all well-meaning people that gave me great advice over the years that I never listened to. I wasn't ready to change, I didn't want to change, and I sure didn't ask you for your opinion. So if you're like me, you're probably going to get pissed off that someone is giving you an opinion when you haven't asked for it. It's like, get out of my business, I'm fine.
Sometimes people want opinions, but they know what they should do, but they are not willing to do it, so they ignore it.
You know what? If someone keeps coming back to you asking for help about X, and it's your mistake to keep giving advice. It's not their mistake to keep asking for advice. It's your mistake to give advice. They come back and go, remember what I said earlier? Do you believe Sam did this again? And then 3 days, do you believe Sam did this? Now, Sam could be a man or a woman, so let's not get stereotypical here on me. Do you believe Sam did this again? Do you believe Sam did, what should I do with Sam? And you go, every week you come to me with the same issues about Sam. What do you think you should do? Wait till we come up in a minute. I'm going to give you this I'll give it right now. There's a technique in asking questions called third person. And so you go, okay, if you had a best friend and Sam did that to them, what would you tell that best friend to do? Right? Third person questioning. And if they say, I don't know, say, I think we need to go a little deeper than I don't know. But we're going to get into that in a minute, okay? This is great discussion. Communication is everything. Okay, number 1, page 8, open-ended questions. The definition of an open-ended question, this is crucial. Open-ended questions can never be answered with the words yes or no. That's how you know you're good at asking questions. The best communicators in the world ask open-ended questions. Open-ended question is any question that cannot be answered with yes or no. Now, we could take a really simplistic one. Would you like to go to the beach? No. Okay, fine. But when we're talking more serious things, like how do you think that you should overcome this? What would be the best move to do to get out of this addiction or out of this pattern that isn't working for you? These are open-ended questions. So if I ask you the question, what do you think the best 3 steps to take to overcome this challenge that you have? If someone answers yes, or someone answers no.
Or I don't know.
Okay, and we're going to get to I don't know. Okay, but we want questions that engage and make people think deeper than this. Do you like your current position at work? That's a yes or no. Terrible question. What do you enjoy about your current work situation, and what do you not enjoy about your current work situation would be open-ended questions.
So you start with what, why, how.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're talking to a parent, if you're talking to a lover, a child, a friend, a coworker, and you're trying to get to the core bottom of something and they're answering yes and no on everything, that's because we're asking terrible questions. If you can get a series of yeses and nos, we're not asking good questions. Does that make sense? In the world of counseling and coaching, we want to try to stay away, and we work really hard to stay away from yes and no answers. And it triggers me like a heartbeat. If I'm asking a question that's important, and someone answers yes or no, I go, oh God, David, come on, get your act together. You can go deeper than that. And then I'll have to ask the same question again from a different angle. But that was my fault that I gave them that opportunity to say yes or no. Okay? Right? All right. The next powerful way to ask questions is a third person. And that someone comes up to you and says, just like the example I just gave, you know, I have no idea what to do with my weight, my addiction, my finances, this coworker I can't stand, blah, 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 blah. And we say, what would someone else in your current situation do to overcome that challenge? They can't say yes. They can't say no. They could say, I don't know, but we'll get to that in a second. But this is one of the great, now the reason this question is so powerful is that it takes the spotlight off of the person. It takes all the pressure. It makes it an impersonal question versus a personal question, right? It's impersonal to say, what would someone else do? The pressure is on them when we say, what do you think you should do to overcome this block of lack of focus, procrastination, whatever it might be? Now it's personal. Some people don't want to go that deep, so they'll say, I don't know. Okay, so what would someone else do? What would someone else do that really wanted to save their marriage when an affair happened? What would someone else do? They were determined to save their marriage. What might they do? Because when you're in the pits of hell, sometimes we can't think of what the smart thing to do is, right? We're emotionally overloaded. The brain is filled with adrenaline, fatigue. We're beat to hell. We can't think. So, but I still want to get them engaged in their healing process. I don't want to give answers yet. So what would someone else do who was in your circumstance? You know, millions of people have overcome affairs and relationships and have healed. What do you think they may have done? What would be one step that they did that? Millions of people have overcome addictions in the past. What do you think? Where would they start? Where do you think some of these people start? Millions of people have overcome homelessness to become very successful in life. What do you think they would do to start the process? So now you've got them engaged, but the spotlight isn't on them. The spotlight's off to the side, and they're thinking about, well, what would someone else do? And it can open up a whole flood of ideas that would never come if you say, come on, you can give me an answer. You're smart enough. I know you have enough experience. Come on, what would you do? And that doesn't work for people. Yeah, they push, thank you. Michaela, exactly, they push back. Right? I love third person question. If you go to the next page, asking questions from multiple angles. So someone has a question about success and they don't know how to become more successful, you know? And so question number one is, what are all the positive benefits that could come out of making this major life change? What are all the benefits that could come out of making this positive life change? This is asking questions from multiple angles. So we want them engaged. They want, oh geez, you know what? My self-esteem would improve if I lost weight. My confidence would improve. It may shatter my social anxiety. It may, you know, my insecurities about being in public could be taken away. My blood pressure would go down, right? Like, so we want to say, what are all the benefits of what, if you could shatter procrastination and never deal with procrastination again for the rest of your life, what would the benefits be? Oh my God, I wouldn't be working with you. I wouldn't have to answer all your damn homework questions every week. That's enough right now. I'm not going to ever procrastinate again. But we want the benefits. The second thing is, from a multiple angle, question number two is, what are all the challenges that will come when you're trying to accomplish this new goal. Let's get realistic, right? We're not going to stay Pollyanna positive crap. We want to write out, here's all the challenges that would happen when I start prospecting 2 days a week for 3 hours a day. Here's all the challenges that would happen when I go into the gym feeling out of shape and overweight. Here's all the stuff that's going to go through my brain. Here's all the challenges that would happen if I quit drinking. Here's all the challenges that would happen if I quit spending money that I don't have. Right? So we get them to think about challenges because we're going to have answers to the challenges. It's not enough to have a list of 77 benefits of change. That's not enough to change someone's behavior. It's what are the blocks that are going to come up is really where our work is. You know, because fantasy world is, oh my God, I'll feel great, I'll feel this, I'll feel great. Well, that's all great. Okay, good, thanks, because we want that. But that's not enough to change. Unless you're part of the 3% of the population that is so damn disciplined that that's all you need. You know, there is a tiny percentage of the population that could benefit just by staying focused on the positive. Really tiny. They're outrageously disciplined, outrageous perseverance, persistence. Like they're honey badgers. Do we all know what honey badger is?
Yeah.
Do you know what a honey badger is?
I believe they go after the honey no matter what.
Okay. They go after king cobras no matter what. They go after rhinoceroses no matter what.
Oh, big.
Honey badgers are the most ferocious animals in the world, and they're the size of a small dog.
And they exist.
How do they exist?
No,
They
they,
do
they,
They exist.
Oh, they do exist.
Oh, it's not a myth.
Google it.
The escape artists.
Oh, wait till you do Google it.
Wait till now. This is what you want to
The
do.
escape ones.
They are so adorable. Google honey badger with Randall.
Oh.
Okay? Randall is this very effeminate voice who is unbelievably hilarious.
Yeah, it's a funny video.
It is, and that's what we want to become in this course of life mastery, or if you're going to become a life coach, we want to become honey badgers, where we say, here's the challenges, bring it on. I'm going to create a pattern, a program, a daily action step that I'm going to go after that king cobra. I'm going to go after the honey with all the bees stinging the hell out of me, because honey badgers go into the bee's nest and they get stung 1,000 times. Kind of
Honey
like
badgers don't care.
they. It's so funny, isn't it?
They just see the target and they go.
Yeah.
Got it.
They walk through walls, and that's what we want to become, right? Now, here's the cool thing.
She doesn't want to walk through walls.
Okay, we'll have you walk through something else, but you don't have to walk through walls. But here's something interesting. I mentioned, 3 to 4% of people are born with this, and they truly are born with this unbelievable. Just like, Michael Jordan was born with, LeBron James was born with certain physical gifts. Like there's athletes and musicians that are born with, and there's certain people that are born with this outrageous high IQ of determination, persistence, etc., discipline. There's some people that are just, they come out of the womb like that, and. But here's the cool thing, is that it can be learned by anyone. It's a switch of the subconscious mind, though. Because for years we've told ourselves, I'm not as disciplined, I procrastinate, I'm not as focused, and that becomes our reality, right? But it's not true. Anyone can learn discipline, determination, and perseverance. It's a matter of putting yourself in that situation to do it. Evelyn Keeling, going back to who lost 245 pounds, she was not disciplined. She didn't have perseverance or persistence for all these years of carrying that extra weight, but she found it. Then she strutted on stage in front of 15,000 screaming fans, as a bodybuilder in her 50s. And on one side of the stage was her in a wheelchair, 245 pounds heavier. And she comes out on the other side, and the crowd went freaking nuts, right? I'm getting chills. It wasn't her genetic predisposition that changed her body. It wasn't anything but a desire and a will to live life differently, My friend Ray Higdon, who I write about, I have his story in several of my books. He lives in Naples, and he was a guy that came to me around 2009 probably, when the real estate market crashed, and he was flipping homes and making tons of money. He lost every penny, single dad, 2 children. And he came to me and said, I have no money to pay you for a session. I will come up for lunch. Can you pay for lunch too? I loved him, you know? And he said, I don't have any money. I need to work with you. I don't have money. I can't even afford food. I said, we're going to go and meet for lunch. So we went and met for lunch. And all I did was ask Ray questions. How'd you get here? What happened? Now, I was in a very similar situation as him at that time. I'd invested in all this real estate and lost it all. So we weren't that far apart, quite frankly. But he was losing his home, and he had two little boys, and I didn't have two little boys. So there was a difference there. The pressure on him was much greater than the pressure on me. But I sat there and listening, and I listened, and at the very end, here was my advice. I said, Ray, even in the state you're in, you have so much passion. You have so much energy. You're nervous, you're scared, but man, you have a great personality, even though it's being covered up by fear right now. And the only thing I can tell you is to get into selling something you believe in, and you are going to kick ass again. That's all I told them. I didn't have a magical formula. I said, find something you have passion in, not real estate. Not now anyway. It's going to be a couple years before that thing comes back. But find something else you believe in and sell the hell out of it, because you're going to be super successful. So as he writes his own story in this book, he says he went home, he took my advice, went home, and built a huge vision board and started using the secret affirmations from The Secret for the next 30 days. Because even though he liked what I said, he believed what I said, he wanted to find an easier way. So he created a vision board, and he started and 30 days later, he was in worse shape than he was when I met him. And that's when he said to himself, I got to find something to sell. And he found a network marketing product that he really loved, and he started selling, but nothing was happening. He was contacting people, nothing's happening. And then another friend of his said, you have to get 20 rejections a day. Ray said, what? He goes, you have to contact so many people that you get 20 no's a day. And almost 2 years later, he was earning $50,000 a month, and now he earns over $1 million a month. A month, not a year. Right? It took him 2 years of 20 no's a day. See, that's a honey badger, right? And that's not a special gift. That's called a choice. And what we teach in this course is the very same thing that Ray did. Everything that you want is a choice, unless you want to play for the Miami Heat. And that's not a choice, you're screwed, okay? I don't think any of us in here will ever do it. Now, we might be able to be a ball boy or a statistician for the Miami Heat. We might be able to do something like that. But almost everything we want, if we have a plan of action and follow it through on a daily basis, there's so many things that we could have that we don't have right now. And that gift of being a honey badger, discipline, perseverance, persistence, etc., is something that anyone can learn at any age. But how long is it going to take to go from a non-determined, non-persistent, non-disciplined person to all those things? How long will it take?
365.
If you put 365 days into making a decision when you get up, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna. I don't feel like doing it, but I'm going to. This is not a good day to do this, but I'm going to. It will become who you are. Now, if Ray was in here today and you said to him, how hard is it to network? He'd say, what? I don't understand what you're saying. How hard is it to create business? He'd go, oh, it's really easy. Because he's been doing it for 9 years now, right? And it's effortless for him to go out and create new business all the time. Because he was willing to do what few of us will ever do. Similar to Usain Bolt, similar to Evelyn Keeling, there's a theme here. There's a thread with these people that have accomplished great things. Wayne Dyer buying all his own books off of every bookshelf, to create demand, right? It's like everyone has the same story. Deepak Chopra was a 2-pack-a-day smoker as a cardiologist in a Boston hospital. Wayne Dyer was addicted to alcohol and cocaine. Stories upon stories upon stories of people that have made a decision to live life differently. And that's why we're all in this course. Whether you go on to become a coach or just master your own life, it's all the same thing, right? So, okay, now, asking questions from multiple angles. The last angle to ask is that, how will my life change if I keep living the identical way I am today? The last question. And it's a really simple answer. What is it?
It won't.
It won't.
Well, it depends.
He likes to challenge.
Yeah, if they're smokers and you can keep, you're gonna die. It's, I mean, there's certain
Right.
bad habits.
You could go-
if you're just going to keep.
You're right.
them.
It won't get better.
It won't get
It won't
better.
get better. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, it won't change for the better. And unfortunately, you know, for all of us that, you know, drink or smoke or overeat or something, we latch on to the story of the 103-year-old person that smoked 6 packs a day and drank a bottle of whiskey a day, and that once in a lifetime person, you know, just unbelievable how we hang on to that, right? We hang on to those once in a lifetime stories that are so rare that, oh, you can go ahead and plug that into the phone. Yeah, go right ahead. Thank you. Okay, unacceptable answers. Here we go. So if I'm working with someone, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Thank you. If I'm working with someone and they're saying that would never work with me, or you know, what I say to them up front is, listen, I'm going to give you some unacceptable answers, okay? And if you share those with me, I'll just say thank you very much, but that's an unacceptable answer. Let me try the question again. So number one is that would never work for me. Okay, that's unacceptable. Someone says that would never work for me. I'm a Virgo. I'm a middle child. I come from Poland. Whatever. That would never work for me.
This way.
I was born this way, right? All right, so that would never work with me, number one. Number two is I'm too old. Number three is I'm too young. Number four is, David, you just don't understand. I have heard that so many times. There was a woman I helped get sober, and and I had helped her. I had helped her first double her income in 90 days. Never thought she could. We have the full story in our book that you'll read about. Angela, she's a sweetheart. And this was probably 12 years ago now. And so she had a high school education, working in a bank, minimum wage, hated it, stressed to the max because she never had any money. And I said to her, if you work with me 90 straight days, 5 days a week, 90 straight days, I guarantee you're going to double your income. Guarantee it. Because we have a system that is so freaking powerful. But I'm going to tell you, before you even pay me a penny, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to have to work your ass off. So you make the decision. She goes to her friends and family, and her friends and family said, you're insane. That's all the money you have left on a credit card, paying this nutbag from Florida when you're out on the West Coast. There's no guarantee, you know, blah, 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 and she paid me anyway. Every day she got up at 4:30 in the morning, her time, to call me. Okay, 5 days a week. Every evening she had 2 hours of homework to do. Networking, rewriting resumes, really working her ass off. Sending out emails to all these people that she knew from high school. And one thing I taught her is don't ever ask them for a job. Don't ever say to them, hey Mark, I haven't talked to you in years. I'm looking for a job and here's my skills. Don't ever ask anyone for a job. Because what are most people going to do if you say, do you have a job? Do you have anything I can do to work with you?
No.
They're going to say no. But if you put it this way, I'm changing my focus in my career. I've included below my resume or attached my resume. If you happen to hear of anyone that might be able to benefit from my perseverance, persistence, dedication, I would absolutely love for you to let me know. And at the end of 90 days, I'm speaking in New York City, I get this text messages saying, oh my God, I need to talk to you right now, I need to talk to you right now. And I call her back, she goes, today is the 90th day and I just got a job offer at double my income.
Wow.
And I said, you work 2 hours every night, 5 days a week, you came home exhausted from work, you didn't do anything but and you called me every day at 4:30 in the morning? Are you kidding me? That's the benefit, right? 2 days later, I'm still there. I get another text from her saying, I need to talk to you right away. I'm really stressing out. I'm going, what the heck? She goes, David, I accepted the first offer and I just got 2 more offers at even more money. What do I do? Now, how many of us, in all sincerity, well, this room is different. I know you all say yes. But for everyone else out there, how many people would say, for 90 days in a row, I'm going to get up at, 4:45 in the morning, and I'm going to be ready for the call at 4:30 a.m., and then I'm going to work 9 hours or 10 hours a day, and I'm going to come home, and I'm going to put 2 solid hours into doing this work. You know, like how many? Now, in the safety of this room and the safety of the course, a lot of people would say, I would. If I knew that was going to happen, I would. And I'm going to tell you what Harvecker told me, is that is a bullshit answer. Because that same benefit is waiting for you. Quit making up excuses that you would do it. Why haven't you yet? That's what Harvecker called me. Harvecker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Amazing book. And when I asked him for help, he said, how come you haven't done it yet? Have you put every ounce of effort into what your goal is? I said, yes. He said, you're lying. He was really great to work with because he didn't pull any punches. David Essel, you're a liar. Isn't that wild? So we say we want something, but are we willing to do the work? That's what our work in here, that's what this whole course is about, right? So we got to do the work. Okay, unacceptable answers. I'm a Virgo.
The zodiac.
Yeah. Any astrology reason whatsoever, throw it out the window. That's not the reason you don't have X or can't do Y, right? My partner would never let me. Next would be my parents would be embarrassed or my family would disown me. In the world of addiction, people go, you don't understand, it's a disease. Bunch of bullshit. I always say to people, when they come up with these kind of nonsense answers in the world of addiction, like, oh, it's my genetics or it's a disease, then I always go, you know what's really weird? How do millions of other people accomplish this goal every day then? If alcoholism is a disease and it's caused by our genetics, how are all these people sober? It baffles my mind. You know? And if it was a genetic disease, then the only things that should have gotten me sober and everyone else sober would have been some kind of pharmaceutical intervention or surgery, or if it was a genetic cause condition, then there would have to be some type of medical intervention to get. No, there is nothing out there that's medical intervention that guarantees you. I went through every medication possible trying to get sober, and none of them worked. And I went through the best in the world. All kinds of different pharmaceutical drugs that say this will cut your cravings, this will obliterate your cravings. Nothing worked until I worked my ass off and spent a bunch of money, you know? And then it worked. Funny. But it didn't have anything to do with any kind of medication or medical procedure. It had to do with a choice and a willingness to change the subconscious mind, which took 365 days of constant work. Anyone can do this stuff. Okay, on the next page, page 10, yes, go ahead.
I have a question. What about another unacceptable answer as in I don't have time?
Oh, perfect, write it down. How did I forget that?
I don't know, I reminded you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have
I
time.
get that one a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not from me, from other people.
Uh-huh.
I make time.
I love it. Yeah, I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to network. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time, you know. So here's a great story. A buddy of mine, Dr. James Rippey, who's a medical doctor, MD, wrote a book in the early 90s called Fit for Success. In the book, he interviewed Fortune 500 executives who on average worked 80 hours a week. 75% of them exercised 4 days a week or more. Okay, hold that thought. 80 hours a week of work, 75% of them exercise 4 days a week or more. In the general population of the United States of America, 15% of Americans exercise 4 days a week or more. But in Fortune 500 executives working 80 hours a week, 75% of them exercised 4 days a week. Isn't that fascinating?
Shows you
It shows you
where success is.
what it takes to be successful, you know? What it takes to be successful. This whole course is a course of life mastery. Whether we take it to become a coach or just radically change our life, all these stories I'm telling you, I'm not telling you just to enthrall you. I want you to realize that you can do it too, you know? You can. Okay, what are the benefits of asking your clients questions? Number one is that they become engaged in their own healing process. The most important part of asking questions is that they become engaged in their own healing process. Now, you could say, what are the benefits of asking my partner questions, my children, like, just remember, if you're not gonna go on to become a life coach, you can use this with friends, neighbors, coworkers, children, anyone. The benefits, right? They become engaged, number one. Number two is that they become attracted to your interest in them. When you ask questions, you're saying, I'm interested in you. When you give advice, you're not saying, I'm interested in you. I'm interested in me because I'm so freaking smart. I'm going to give you advice because I'm so smart. But when you ask them questions, you're saying, I care about you. I'm interested in you, right? Number three is that it builds an honest and open foundation. Because they're feeling that you're interested in them, they're going, wow, this is a strong foundation I have with this person. They're not just giving me advice, they want to know about me. They want to ask me questions, right? And then when we go down to D, what are the challenges that come from asking your clients questions? Number one is that some people don't want to work to change. That's just the truth. So when you say to them, well, what do you think you could do to lose the weight? Or what do you think you could do to prospect better? What do you think that you could do to be more patient? Some people don't want to hear those questions because they really don't want to do the work. So they just, why are you spending time asking me these questions? Number two is that it holds them accountable to change. So asking questions holds people accountable. Giving advice does not. If the person or the client or the child or the partner or the employee is used to you giving advice, this is going to rattle your relationship. You're breaking norms. So instead, this is a challenge. They're expecting you to tell them what to do, even if they don't want to. Now you're asking questions. You're shaking up the relationship. They may not like it. They're used to coming to you for answers, even if they don't follow your advice. And when you start putting it back on them, it may cause a shift, a vibrational shift in the relationship, which they may not enjoy. Because now you're asking them to work. Versus just saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. Make sense? So by asking people for their questions, you're going to really totally change the dynamics of the relationship. At first, they may not like it. Okay, on the next page, now these are assignments. We are using the book. If you want to write down where it says assignment number 1, read chapter 1 and 2 of the Positive Thinking book. Just right in there, it says slow down, but right there read chapter 1 and 2 of the Positive Thinking book. And as you go through the manual, follow it the way that we have it set up. Like a lot of times people like to sit down and just read the book straight through, but we say no, follow it slowly. There's a reason for it, okay? And then where it says, the second part says listen to the Slow Down CD, put there listen to 5 episodes of David Essel's Daily Video Boost. And if you're not on the subscription list, let me know.
I'm there.
You're there. And take notes on each of the videos. You get them Monday through Friday. Is everyone in this room signed up?
Yes.
Okay. Kayla?
I think so. I see them, so.
Okay, then.
Oh, that's the wrong answer. You're not supposed to just see them.
Well, no, I know. I watch them, but they come up, they pop up, so I'm.
Okay, you must be on.
Do
And
you have
Dan?
any that you're not in the pool?
They're all in the pool. I'm like, I want to be in the pool.
So, that's a great question. We started the David Essel's Daily Video Boost 3 years ago, and we never did them in the pool 3 years ago. I would do them in an office, I would do them in my car, I would do them wherever we are, right? And then, I don't know if it was maybe 8 months ago or something like that, I said, you know, I'm in the pool constantly. I want to take advantage of this and just have fun and just do it in a different way. And at first, even my business coach said, hey, you know, one of my One of my other business associates said, is that the most professional way for him to bring his message across? I said, that's a great question. I said, but I'm going to answer your question with another question. And that is, what other counselors and life coaches are doing daily videos from their pool? How many? It's a great branding technique. It's different, it's unique.
Well, I also feel it's a little bit more personal versus you in the office, and I'm like, oh, that's his life, I want his life, I'll do what he says.
That is so cute. That's his life. I want his
Yeah,
life.
I was like, oh, okay, he's in the pool? Oh, okay, I'm all ears.
I'm listening.
Tell me
I
what to
want to do my work from the pool.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do now, if for people at home you haven't signed up for the Daily Boost, it's free, and people on Facebook Live and people taking the course at home, go to talkdavid.com and sign up for David Essel's Daily Video Boost. It used to be a subscription service for the first 3 years we did it. And then we had this brilliant idea as we continued to try to stretch to reach more people. We said, why don't we just give it away for free? And the viewership, as you can imagine, has gone through the roof, right? Like we're touching so many more people now by having it as a free resource. So in here, you're gonna watch 5 a week and just take little notes. This is the topic, this is what I learned. This is the topic. Never trust your brain. I say it on all the videos. Take notes, take notes. The brain is filled with so much competing information that you watch a video and you go, oh my gosh, that's a great point, I'm gonna remember it, and we won't. It's just like in here. Can you imagine, and you probably would love to have this happen, but it's not gonna. Can you imagine if I had you guys in here and I said, don't even look at the notebooks, let's just talk for 16 hours. Do you know how little you'd recall?
Well, I would record it on my computer.
Oh, you're a step ahead.
Step ahead.
But most of us would walk out of here and maybe you'd say that was a really fun weekend. And then 2 weeks later, I'd ask you about, hey, what's third person questioning? And let's say you'd never heard it before. You go, oh, I remember that part. That was good. No, but what is it? I'm glad you liked it, but what the hell is it? And more often than not, we go, crap. But if you write things down, the retention rate increases dramatically.
But it also means you have to go back to read it.
Yes, and then you have to go back to read it. And the benefit of this course is we do all this work in 2 days, but then you have 45 days and you're going to go back from page 1 all the way through and you're going to look at your answers. You go, oh, I could add something else here. I could add something. So you're going to be rereading everything and adding more, which is going to increase retention.
Do you want it in a different color pen so you know that we added to it?
Mm-mm.
Just checking.
Whatever's easy for you.
Okay.
If you like using different colored pens, I will salute you with different colored pens. If you
to
want,
make sure that we actually did the
yeah, that's right. That's cute. Now I trust you. Okay, on page 12, this is where we rewrite our mission statement. So you wrote it 6 pages ago. I want you to look at it again and say, okay, is this the best I can do? Is it measurable? Should I change my mission statement at all? This is just a chance to review it and say, maybe I could add this to it. Okay? Number B is the same thing. If you remember number B, 4 pages ago I asked you, why would people want to work with you? Why would someone want to be your friend? Now you get a chance to answer it again. Did I miss anything? Make sense? Okay. What's that?
That's a homework.
Homework. Yep, those 2 are homework. Okay, this next one is really important for self-esteem and self-confidence. Anything that I mentioned in here that you immediately acknowledge as true, you already knew. Okay? Anything that you snap judgment and go, that makes sense. That's because you already knew it. And that's really important. You might walk out of this course with 10% new thoughts, 2%, I don't know, 2% new thoughts. Those 10% of new thoughts or ideas or 2% could radically change your life. Like, never overlook that if you walk out of here and go, I knew 98% of what David said, awesome for you. That should be a booster. That should be a self-confidence, self-esteem. Damn, I'm doing great in life. Right? And the 2% that I'm not doing is the breakthrough information from Life Mastery and Major Change. Sometimes, have you ever seen that video, the 1 degree difference or something like that on YouTube? It shows the difference between whatever, when you heat something up to X amount, it turns into vapor. Like when you heat water up, when it hits a certain degree, it turns to vapor, right? But if you keep it back, that 1 degree, it stays as boiling water. There's no steam. And the analogy is that sometimes it's a 1% change in your life that makes a radical difference. Because at that 1 degree higher, that water is going to evaporate very quickly from the steam, right? And that's what life is like. Sometimes it's the 1% change that you learn in here. You know 99% of this stuff, but one thing that you go, I'm not doing this and I need it, that could be the huge difference over the next 365 days that'll change your life radically. Pretty cool concept, right? So if you're going to go be a coach, we want to tell our clients, hey, a lot of the stuff I'm going to go through, you may already know. Are you doing it? You're aware and you're knowledgeable, but are you doing it? Right? It's a great question. Because we can know a lot, we can be aware of a lot, but are we actually applying it? Awareness is a first step to change, but awareness has nothing to do with change. If you understand what I'm saying. Awareness by itself won't change a thing. Knowledge by itself. You know that old statement, and it's wrong, knowledge is power.
What's wrong?
It's wrong. It's 100% incorrect. Knowledge plus action is power. Knowledge by itself is knowledge. Knowledge has no power whatsoever. There's no action in knowledge. You know a lot, so what? What percentage of us are applying everything that we know? Right? Knowledge is not power, but knowledge plus action is power. There's a lot of statements from I think that was Thomas Edison who said that. I'm not sure. One of those big guys. But a lot of stuff, that we, like, time heals everything. Time doesn't heal shit. Time never has healed. It never will heal. And we'll work with people that have been divorced for 30 years that still have resentments against their former partner. That just proves time doesn't heal anything. Now, time plus action heals, but time itself doesn't necessarily heal a thing. You can hold resentments for your whole lifetime over something that happened, and so 30 years go by and time doesn't mean anything. So we have a lot of these statements that we have learned and have been taught to us and we just take for granted that a lot of times aren't true at all. They were true 50 years ago, 100 years ago when they said, because that's all they knew at the time. But as we progress, we need to be challenging a lot of these long-held belief systems that really aren't actually true. I am very knowledgeable, but as a very knowledgeable alcoholic cocaine addict, I sure wasn't using my knowledge to my highest degree, I don't think, And I was helping people get sober. Isn't that wild? So knowledge is like whatever. Fascinating stuff. Okay, anything that you heard, you already knew. It's just a reminder. Feel confident, feel powerful in this course here today. Now, here's the next. This is a homework assignment. It says the use of stories. Find stories for each of the areas of life below about someone or an organization overcoming adversity. Page 13. So you're going to go to Google.
I knew this.
Now, you don't have to go to Google. If you know someone that overcame a huge, like Evelyn Keeling, that overcame a huge health challenge, then write the story, or you can use the back of this, or you can use a notebook, okay? And I'm going to tell you the reason why this is so important. Finances, like Ray Higdon. The story of someone overcoming huge financial adversity. Spirituality, someone who was a spiritual crisis that overcame it and bounced back. Career and business failure to success, relationship failure to success. Whether we're talking to children or our lover or employees, or if we go on to become coaches, I encourage people, this course is a little different. I'll talk about mainly a lot of my failures in here, but the very best thing the way to get people to understand your knowledge is to give stories of other people, not yourself. Very best way to get people on your side is to tell stories of success about other people versus us. Why?
You're not talking about yourself, so you're not being self-centered.
Okay, so it's not self-centered.
You're inspiring.
And you're inspiring. I like it. Any other thoughts of why is? Huh?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You don't get the answer, oh, well, David, that's just you, you're a superstar.
Yep. You have all this experience, you have all this knowledge, you have all this whatever, right? Exactly. So when you want to lift people up, don't go into, I was in your situation once and this is what I did. Go into, it's interesting. I was reading this story about Usain Bolt, about what makes him really incredible is that he does every day what he doesn't want to do. I was reading this story about this woman, Evan Keeling, and she, carried a lot of weight too. And her very first move was to remove all convenience foods from her house, threw them all in the garbage, and went to the gym and started walking 5 minutes on a treadmill, supported, because she was so overweight. So we tell stories about other people that then gives that person a chance to sit and listen and not say, oh yeah, but you were born with the persistence gene. Or you know what I'm saying? It's like the best thing in the world is to use stories of other people. Which is why in our books, we use hundreds of stories of other people. I could write, I'd be bored as shit, but I could write stories about me overcoming all my addictions, and I could make it a complete book, and it might be interesting, but I can tell you I lose readership really, really fast. Unless I was a Stephen King or someone, if I had such a high Q value that everyone in the world had to know what not everyone in the world really cares what David Essel's overcome, but people want to know about Scarlett Lewis, how she forgave Adam Lanza, who murdered her 6-year-old son. They want to read stories about Diane Gray out of Naples and how she cared for her son from a very young age. I think it was around 4 when he came down with this disease that took his voice, took his ability to move. And she had to carry him and feed him from that age to 14 when he died, and how she grieved it and overcome. People want to hear stories. Much more fascinating than David Essel stories. And even though everyone in this room and everyone in the course at home and everyone on Facebook has phenomenal stories, I'm sure, is that if you're constantly telling your friends, family member, coworkers, lover about you, it's going to get old really quick, even if you have fabulous stories. But if you start talking about other people, people will be engaged and they'll listen. So this is powerful, no matter what you're going to do in your life, is to have stories of other people that you can share to inspire people to change. On the next page, why is writing so powerful? Okay, I say this in all my videos. Never trust your brain, take notes, never trust your brain, never trust your brain. Number one, the reason writing is so powerful is that it makes stuff real. So when you write down your challenges and you see them on paper of what you're not doing at the highest level, it makes it real. When you write down your accomplishments and what your strengths are, is that it makes them more real than if they're just rattling around in your head. Number one. Number two, it makes you more accountable. When you write down your challenges and what you need to change in your life, it makes you more accountable to change. Okay? Number three, it decreases stress dramatically. We call it emotional vomiting. When you emotionally vomit the challenges, the insecurities, the fears, the lack on paper, is that it cuts down the anxiety by up to 50% because you've taken it out of here. When it's in your brain, it's like a dog chasing its tail, right? There's no end in sight, and you keep worrying about it and thinking about it and worrying about it and thinking about it. When you write it down, I'm really nervous that our relationship is going down the hill. I'm really nervous I'm back in a codependent relationship. I'm really nervous that I'm falling back into spending habits I don't want. I'm really nervous. Like, that's just reality. And so when you put it on paper what your challenges are, it decreases the chance of justification, rationalization, and denial. Because when you leave it up here, if it's a long-standing pattern, the subconscious wants you to keep it. It doesn't matter if the pattern is good or bad. We're talking about bad patterns here. When you put it in the physical world, it becomes real, and even the subconscious must wake up and go, oh my God, they're going to change. This sucks. That's the subconscious thought process. Oh, they're going to give up drinking. God damn, we love to drink on Friday nights. Wait a minute, David, you deserve to drink. Why are you writing down that you're drinking too much? You deserve it. Remember what we've been rehearsing for 25 years? That's the subconscious back here, you know? Okay, just give it up on Monday nights, but the other 6, come on. Writing is unbelievable, you know? And then the last benefit of writing is that you can create a substantial plan of action to change, which shows the subconscious mind that you're serious. Now that I have a plan, I'm going to do this, 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 this. Right, Michaela? Mm-hmm. I saw her writing. I saw that planner. I love it. And
Did you see that?
yeah, I love the planner. You know, like when we have a planner, a day planner that says from this time to this time I'm going to do this, from this time to this time, the odds of us following through are much greater. It isn't guaranteed. But it's much greater than saying, I'll remember that later on this afternoon I'm going to do this. And I know for myself, my brother and I were talking the other day. I mean, we forget everything that isn't written down. It's coming way too early. I mean, at 28, I never thought I'd struggle with my memory, you know. But here I am, 28, and I'm struggling with my memory, and it's just, it's brutal, you know.
Wait till you're 60.
But you know, exactly. You know, like here I am, and I've heard of my cousin. Oh my God, my cousin's the forebearer of bad news. I love my cousin Gary, but he always says to me when he turned 50, and I think I was 42, he goes, wait till you see what happens at 50. And then when he turned 60, he said, David, it ain't a pretty picture. There's a guy in the gym, Harry, and he says to me every day, he goes, at 75, you ain't gonna wanna be here, okay? He goes, this is not a place, you don't wanna get to 75, David. Because you think you're having challenges now, wait till you get to 75, you know? It's kind of funny. So I look at writing as it's a savior for me. Yes.
You know, even kids, you tell them, oh, Mom, it's so hard. Wait till you turn a teenager. Then you turn a teenager. Oh, wait till you become an adult and have to start working. So it's always,
Process.
yeah, it's a part of growing up, I think.
It is. But when we write, we're more serious. When we write our goals down, when we use, you know, like a timeline, I'm going to do this from this to then, this to then, this to then, we become more serious. And that's when we start to inch that subconscious from its old pattern of justification, rationalization, and denial into the new pattern of actually achieving the goals that we've set inside, you know, for ourselves. I think writing is everything. Now this next one is interesting. What are the various ways to write? Okay, I'm just going to give you a series of lists. There is no best way to write other than the best way that works for you. So number 1 is bullet points. If all you want to do is write bullet points, write bullet points. Here's my 6 things that I'm going to do today that I can't miss, and the time next to it, that's fine. If you want to write in paragraphs, totally cool. If you want to write stories of what you want to accomplish and why you want to accomplish, and you want to write the benefits and the challenges, and you want to put it into a little novelette, go for it if that's the way it works for you. Right? If you want to do on paper, do it on paper. If you want to do it on your computer, do it on your computer. I still do everything on paper pretty much. I still have an old-fashioned day planner. I don't put anything in my phone. I have not caught up at all. But it works. And so I think, you know, when I work with kids, there was a 10-year-old I worked with, and it was a blended family. Now I think there was like 8 kids. It went from, you know, it was him being in a house of 3, now there's 8. And he was very stressed and very unhappy. So his parents brought him into work with me, and he's 10, he can write. You know, he's capable of writing. He would not write anything for me. I would ask him to write this down, and he just wouldn't. So I found out that he loved hockey. So I'm sitting there one day during the session, I go, I got it. I took a piece of paper, flipped it over, and I drew a hockey rink. And I put a goal here and a goal here, and I said, okay, who's on your team today? And then he started listing all the kids on his team, who's on the opposing team, and he'd put, then I knew who he was having troubles with. Right? So how you write it doesn't matter. It's just what works best for you. I worked with a woman who was in a lot of pain that would never write, but she started painting her feelings. And every week she would come in with a new painting of what was going on. And a lot of it was black and dark, and then she'd walk me through what each thing meant. And so she didn't want to write, wasn't comfortable writing, but she could paint her emotions. So however we do it, it doesn't matter. I will say this. I think every day there's one writing tool that I encourage everyone to use, and it's a very simple one. At the end of the day, write down this. Write down the 4 things that you're most grateful for today. The 4 things that you're happiest with, okay? Really simple. It'll take you 3 or 4 minutes to do this exercise. Put it in writing. Don't just think that I'm grateful for X, Y, and Z. Actually write it out. Bring it into the physical world. And the next thing I want you to do is write down the 4 greatest challenges you had today, or disappointments, or frustrations. Okay? And as you do this, you're going to be in touch with reality. And what I want you to see from this exercise is called patterns. If you're writing for a couple weeks and the same challenges are coming up 3 or 4 days a week, that tells us we got to do something. Don't just keep writing the challenge that's repeating, going, okay, every day I'm writing this. Here we go again. Exactly, Ella. Here we go again. It's the 7th day of writing, and every day I'm writing X. I want that to be a red flag. There's a pattern I need to snap. I got to do something about this, right? Now, the benefit of writing down every day the 4 things that you're grateful for or happy about is that boosts self-esteem and confidence. But it ain't going to happen if you think it. Putting it on paper is going to last much longer in regards to boosting your self-confidence and self-esteem than just thinking, oh, I did a good job today. Okay, the next exercise. All right, create a list. This is a homework assignment. I want you to create a list of everything that you want to change, adjust, solve, or enhance in your life. Okay, so you may have 1 thing only. You may have 7 things. So create a list of all the things you want to adjust, solve, or change, right? Then the second part of the exercise is circle the one that will be the hardest to accomplish. This is an awareness exercise. And then later on, you'll see what we're going to do with the one that you circled.
My subconscious is going, it's a trick. It's a trick.
That is funny.
What I would do if I was you would say, throw that one away and do the other one because you lied.
That's right, that's right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So, you know what? It's funny you said that. What oftentimes happens when I give clients this exercise is that they'll have this list, and let's say there's 8 things that are really heavy, and then one is going to say, remember to take the garbage out on Mondays, and they'll circle, remember that. And I'll go, no, wait a second. Of all these things, that's the biggest one. Well, I miss garbage day every other week. Okay, fine, we're going to live with that, okay? What about this one? Highly judgmental, very opinionated, getting arguments with everyone in the office over politics every day. I think that might be a little heavier than the take the garbage out every other week type of thing, right? So you're right, the subconscious and the people are going to push back and they're going to circle something that isn't as difficult. But when we get to the one thing theory, you're going to see why we did this and where we're going to find our greatest changes in life.
I feel pressure.
Do you know what yours is?
It's kind of like a 2-for-1. It's the finances, it's the finances with the business going so that I can leave my job that I can't stand.
Okay.
So it's like it's a money thing.
Okay, it's a money thing. Okay, so when we go to the next part of the course, maybe after lunch, not sure when we get there, we'll help you see that it's just really 1.
Yeah.
It's never 2. It's never 2.
It's never combined?
It's never combined. I know, it's fascinating, no, it's never combined. There's always one that is more difficult than the other, and that's what we want to find, and I'll explain it all. Okay, this next exercise I love. Not that I don't love everything that we're doing, but understanding, what's that?
You don't love?
No, I said the next exercise I love, and then I said not that I don't love all of these exercises. But this next one is a very confusing one because we've been taught incorrectly how to read body language. And anyone who took Psychology 101 in college or even in high school, people say if someone is sitting in this position, it means X. And we're going to find out today that we're really wrong when we try to judge off of body language, okay? We're really wrong. We miss the boat constantly. So number one, write down slouching in chair, okay? Just write down when someone slouches in a chair. Number two, write down arms across chest. Standing or sitting doesn't matter to me. Someone with their arms across their chest. And we're going to look at the reality of how to judge what body language really means, okay? Next, is someone tapping while you're talking to them?
Oh, I hate that. My husband does it. While I'm
It's
driving.
growing.
While I'm driving.
Oh, that's funny. You have to get them mittens. Hi, honey. These are your driving mittens. You can tap all you want. I won't hear a thing. Okay. The next one is going to be legs crossed, foot kicking.
Wondering why you're laughing.
There's a personal joke going on back there in the corner. Okay, so what's the first one?
Slouching in chair.
All right. So when you see someone slouching in your chair, in their chair, and we're in a meeting, and let's say I got down into this position, what are thoughts that come into your mind when you see someone slouching in a chair?
You're not interested.
They're not interested. Absolutely. What else?
Too comfortable.
Too comfortable. What else?
Bored.
Bored. Fuck yes. Anything else?
Their back hurts.
They're backwards.
Oh, that's a positive.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's supposed to be negative or?
Yeah. Well, most of the time when you see someone sitting like this, you know, it's like we have a pretty quick judgment that they're lazy, they're bored, not connected, would rather be anywhere else in the world but here, right? So, and I want to tell a story. So, and that is oftentimes 100% incorrect. So, the greatest professor I've ever had in my life was at Syracuse University. His name was Carl Chances. The fact that I can remember his name and not remember what I was supposed to get at the store last night is quite fascinating. Since I was in school, well, let's see, at 6 years ago. And, but anyway, Carl Chances was this radical professor who came in with torn t-shirts, torn jeans. This is back in the 70s, you know. And most other professors at Syracuse University had tweed jackets and bow ties and all this stuff. And here's this real rat, which means I loved him immediately. And he became my counselor and my advisor because I just loved him to death. And he's the only reason I even graduated from college, quite frankly, which I'll tell the story. But so he would come in, and do you remember the drink Tab? Remember the 0-calorie Coke thing? It was called Tab. He would come in with 2 6-packs of Tab, and I had him first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock. That's the only 8 o'clock class I ever made. And he would sit like this. And everyone would come in, and he'd just be this laid-back dude. And he'd start talking. And he was hilarious, and he was always on point. He was freaking the best professor I've ever had in my life. Every once in a while, he'd get up and write something on the board, but I don't remember what I ever wrote, because I just remember this. And then he'd pop a tab, and he'd be there the whole day. This was his position. Class after class after class, and Carl Chances was the most motivational professor I ever had. Now, you can imagine the university wasn't quite pleased with having someone with torn jeans, torn shirts, and sitting in this position. And he was the best professor ever. Be careful how we judge body language. Next is what? What was the next one?
Arms across chest.
Okay, what does that mean? Someone's standing there, someone's in the seat, I'm sitting here like this, you're talking to someone at a conference. What does this mean? What do most of us say?
Lack of confidence.
It gives the impression that you don't want to hear, like you're just like crossing yourself, you're putting a wall up.
Okay, there's a wall up,
Lack of confidence.
lack of confidence,
Cold?
cold,
That would be me.
yeah. Heart closed, definitely heart is closed. Anything else? Disinterested, angry,
Not approachable.
Walls are up.
walls are way up, what?
Unapproachable.
Unapproachable, okay. Yes,
Sometimes I do it just to focus,
okay,
so that would be a change where it doesn't mean that I'm closed off. Sometimes I'm doing it just so I can focus for a minute, so.
okay. I hope that all day with your arms crossed that you've been focusing. I'm praying that that's the energy I'm getting here. Okay, what's next?
Tapping while talking.
Okay. Tapping,
Impatient.
impatient,
ADHD.
ADHD.
Or whatever we call it.
Annoyed.
Annoying.
annoyed, annoying,
A habit, it can start.
just a habit. Anything else?
Hyper.
Hyper, irritated, can't, impatient. Can't we just get this thing over with, I've been here 15 minutes, isn't it? Do we still have to have this meeting? Isn't this meeting done?
Can we get past traffic?
Can we get going? Can we get past it? Okay. What's the next one?
Legs crossed, feet kicking.
Okay, so, you're sitting and someone is sitting and they're next to you and they're, what is it?
Fun.
A fan. Cooling off the room. Anything else?
Relaxed.
Okay, it could be relaxed,
Nervous.
nervous, anxious, impatient. Okay? So, how do you know if all these different body languages we're talking about are accurate, closed, impatient, anxious, or not? So let's go through the first one. What was the first one?
Slouching.
Slouching in the chair. They could just be comfortable, like Carl Shan says. It could just be a level of comfort. The other thing that some people have said in past classes is that it's anti-authority. When you slouch in your chair, it's an anti-authority move. Because we're supposed to be sitting upright and we're supposed to pay attention, that if you slouch, you're anti-authority.
Do you also think it could be insecurity, like trying to hide?
Yeah, it could be, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay? Or it could just be a comfort zone. Right? What was the second one?
Arms crossed.
Okay, that could just be comfortable. Just like focus, comfort, doesn't have...
Freezing.
Or it could really be they're cold, right? But so many times in the world of spirituality, oh my God, we're taught that if someone else is, I have to rail against the stuff I used to teach, okay? Because I used to teach so much nonsense in the world of spirituality and personal growth that we used to say their heart is closed, they're not experiences, blah, 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 okay? Not necessarily true at all. But I'm going to tell you in a minute how you know where someone is. What's the next one?
Tapping while talking.
Okay, tapping. You mentioned ADD, ADHD, okay? This is a way that people with any kind of a level of ADD or ADHD stay focused. That while they're moving, and that could be the shaking the leg or tapping on, they are really tuned in. And without movement, they cannot stay tuned in, okay? And that's very prevalent in our society. And just think about kids. In a classroom, and they're swiveling, and the teacher is saying, quit swiveling in your desk, and quit doing it. Well, these kids are doing it because of the fact that it's the only way that they can stay focused. They want to be outside playing. They've got all kinds of energy. We don't even have freaking gym anymore in most classes or most schools, they've taken away what kids need the most, and that's to use their energy. So here it's teachers trying to get kids to sit with their hands folded, and then they're getting sent to detention because they're wiggling in their class, It's just normal. And maybe they're wiggling because that's the only way they can even listen to the idiot in the front that's going to reprimand them in a minute for moving. Okay? So, the only way that we can say that any of the body language that we're talking about is accurate from a negative perspective is their facial expression while they're doing it. That tells us everything. If someone is impatient and they're tapping or wiggling their foot, you're going to see impatience on their face. If they're angry or closed, look at the expression on their face. If their arms are crossed and they're just hanging, there's nothing wrong. They're either cold or they're just comfortable. They're in this position, right? Everything is in the face. This tells you everything. If someone is slouched and they're going,
Oh yeah.
okay, well, we already know what's going on. They could be sitting upright and going, and we know the face tells everything, right? So when we're with teaching kids or with our coworkers or our partner and they're doing something like that, let's not jump to conclusions. In the world of coaching, this is one of the biggest mistakes coaches make, is that some new coaches will see a client in a position like that and they'll go, oh, God, I got to change the way I'm doing this. I've lost their attention. Somehow they're wiggling, they're tapping, I've got to. No, you don't have to do a thing. Look at their face. If their face is content and they're paying attention, you're cool. Don't freak, right? Same if you have children. If your children are acting, look at their facial expressions. It does not mean anything bad's going on. Society tries to tell us that we're all Psych 101 experts, but it's not true. It's not true at all. At the conference, Dan, that you guys had that I spoke at recently, I looked around the room and there were some tables. I remember this table over this side of the table. Can't figure out if it's my right, I guess it was. It was all these guys, right? There was like 8 or 10 guys sitting there, and they were dressed like in work clothes, not like suits or anything, but really work clothes, so they obviously did manual labor. And they were all like this the whole time. I mean, they were just like sitting still. Some were taking notes, but they were just like locked in. Then I saw some other people in the back that were way chilled out. I mean, way chilled out. And so if I'm looking at that, what?
That was you.
And you know what? And that was me. When I'm watching other speakers, I mean, this is the way I am almost all the time. I am. I'm slouching. I'm doing a Carl Chances. Right? I'm slouching down on my stuff. But I look back and I looked at all the dynamics in the room. Some had their feet up on another chair, and they're doing this, and some people are writing furiously. The DJ, Tommy, like, he was writing on 4 or 5 pages of notes at the DJ booth to my left, and I'm going, holy crap. And then he sent me an email saying, I don't know if you saw me, I was writing 4 or 5 pages of notes, and I, said, yeah. So it's like, watch their faces. We're holding a meeting. Watch. Now, don't pay attention to their body language. Look at their faces. And if something's up, you can say, are you connecting with me? Are you a little anxious right now? Are you, and in the world of coaching and counseling, there will be times I'm talking to someone and their body language is perfect and their facial expression is not at all. They're sitting upright like they're supposed to, good girls and boys, right? But you can see like they're getting very nervous about the topic we're going to start going into. And so I want to adjust myself based on their facial expression, not on what their body's doing. Use this with your kids, coworkers, friends, lovers, right? Like, let's not jump to conclusions. Okay, the next one. 3 keys to manifestation. What's manifestation mean?
Creation.
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 So on the top, right, manifestation, next to manifestation, right, creation, accomplishment, goal achievement, right? So manifestation is kind of a fancy word for all those things. All it means is that we're creating something new. All right, so intention. Intention is also affirmation. Now, these are 3 steps that we firmly believe in that can help people to achieve new goals in life, okay? So, number 1, we want intentions. We believe intention should be extremely exciting and reasonable. So please write that down. They should be really exciting and reasonable, and I'll go back to what that means. They need to be in writing. Don't just create affirmations or intentions in your brain. There is some truth that I still believe that beginning affirmations or intentions with the word I am is a very beautiful way to start. I am is all about creation. I am is energy. I am is a starting point for change. So I love to start an affirmation with I am. I think it's beautiful. My greatest concern about intentions and affirmations are the umbrella ones that people get hung up on. I am earning $1 million a year. I am a size 6 when I'm a size 22. I am in a wonderful, loving relationship, and we're saying these things while we're single. I'm very concerned with those intentions and affirmations, and I used to teach them. So I have a reason to be really concerned because they don't work. You are lying to yourself, absolutely. If you're saying, I am earning $1 million a year, and you're earning $30,000 or $100,000 or $500,000, you're lying to yourself. That's not accurate. So if we think being out of integrity is healthy, then we can stay with those kind of affirmations and intentions. But if we want to stay in integrity, we can't lie to ourselves and be in integrity. Those are 2 opposing views. That's oxymoronic. To say I'm a size 2 when I'm a size 22 is a lie. Now, in the world of personal growth, well, there's still people that teach this, but why did I leave it in 1996? Why did I stop teaching this and doing this myself?
Because it didn't work for you.
Number 1, it never worked. I don't know anyone who through affirmations that I am earning $1 million a year has earned $1 million a year. I've never met a soul. In all the people I interviewed, Susie Orman, the multi-trillionaire, and Deepak and Wayne and all these people, Mark Victor Hansen, like when I talked to them about how they created, well, when they were super successful and they were saying, I am a multi-million-dollar bookseller, they were saying that after they created and sold multi-million books. But Mark Victor Hansen, the first time I interviewed him, Chicken Soup for the Soul, when I said, what was your affirmations? And he said, I am searching for the best publisher for us. That was it. Isn't that fascinating? It's like there was an action step there, isn't there? I am searching for the best publisher for us. And if you guys know their story, they were rejected by 120 publishing companies. They were dropped by 40 literary agents before Health Communications Inc. in Deerfield Beach, Florida picked them up on a whim. They weren't quite sure it was going to work. And then when Mark said they got their first $1 million check, he said, we think we got something here. So I used to teach to have the biggest, baddest, broadest affirmations in the world. But then I started to realize, and here's the story that happened with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, is that in 1996, the founder of Transcendental Meditation, we got him on our radio show. Phenomenal. It was a miracle that we got him. It was an absolute miracle. He chose one radio show in the whole U.S. to celebrate 40 years of Transcendental Meditation. Absolute miracle. We're on the show. We go to break. And he asked me the question. He said, you talk a lot about, he said, David, your conversation with me on the air is beautiful. You love affirmations. I said, I do. I said, I think they're amazing. Now, here's a guy that has helped change millions of lives through meditation. And he said, are they your reality? And I said, what do you mean? He said, the affirmations you say, are they true? I said, absolutely. He said, tell me your best affirmation and how long you've been saying it. I said, for over 20 years. I've been saying this one affirmation. I am David Essel, a child of God, happy, healthy, and sober today. And is that your reality? And I lied. And I said, yes. He said, good for you. But I said that affirmation for over 20 years, and it made me feel good every morning. Because affirmations release a cascade of chemicals in the brain, proven by HeartMath.org through their own scientific studies. The shit works. I'm not saying don't do affirmations, because it works. But it gave me a false sense of belief. It gave me an illusion. It made me feel I was sober when I wasn't. It made me feel good in the moment. So when you say, I am earning $1 million a year, of course you're going to feel good in that moment. I am with the lover of my life when you're single, of course it's going to, I am with the soulmate, I am a size, of course it's going to work in that moment. But that's, unless a miracle happens, that's as far as it's going, in the moment. And the minute you get up and you have your something to eat or drive to work, that feeling is gone until you say it again. And then you say it again, and then you can get that junkie high. It's a high. It's a drug high. And then, but if there's nothing else behind it, the odds of these outrageous affirmations aren't going to work. Now, if you're one of the, remember I said like 3 to 4% of the population are so freaking persistent and they're honey badgers times a billion. If you're a honey badger times a billion and you're earning $50,000 a year right now, and you say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to earn $500,000 this year, and you do it, and you take no days off and no vacations, and you hire unbelievable financial advisors and coaches, and you might be able to earn $500,000 in a year. The odds are outrageously tiny. So what we say to people is, create an affirmation that is passionate and exciting, but still in the world of realism. And that'll give yourself the high you're looking for, but it'll allow you to start to chop off the chunks of losing the weight, making the money, finding the deep love in a realistic way, and you'll probably get there. But in my experience, and I said it with affirmations, emotions, I mean, I did everything in the world to make that affirmation real, and I was never close to it. And I even lied about it. So I was lying to myself that I was sober every day, and then I lied to Maharishi. So we got to really look at this affirmation thing and throw out the crap we've been taught and start to do something that works. And again, going back to The Secret and the Law of Attraction, they're still encouraging this to this day of saying these outrageous affirmations. So what we say is this. Let's say you want to earn $1 million a year. Good for you. Put it as an umbrella goal off to the side. Just write it down. I earn $1 million a year and stick it there. Right? Then come back to reality, and let's say you're earning $50,000 a year. And I say, let's do this. Let's put down, I am earning $100,000 a year by doing the steps on a daily basis that will challenge me at the deepest level to create financial freedom. Now there is a hell of an affirmation. We're going to double your income. And then would doubling someone's income make a difference in their life?
Oh, yeah. If you take away the things you don't need.
Yes, if you watch your expenses, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I want people to be successful, and I want them to be successful in a year. I would love to see people publish a book in 12 months that they've been writing for 7-8 years. I want to see people double their income in 12 months. I mean, Angela did it in 90 days, but Angela was a honey badger. She walked through walls to double her income in 90 days, you know. So we want people to get excited, passionate about weight loss, money, love, everything, but we want it to be exciting and realistic versus pie-in-the-sky stuff. So in 1996, I had to sit back when I realized 3 weeks after meeting with Maharishi, and his assistant came down, and she flew to an event I was speaking at, and she pulls me aside and said, I flew here, I have 20 minutes to interview you. Maharishi wants to say how much he loved your interview, and what do you remember? And I said, from the Maharishi sent you? And she said, yes. And I said, what do I remember from the interview? That he was filled with childlike joy. And she said, David, now this is going to be hard to accept, but the reason that that's all you remember is because you have no joy in life. And I looked at her and I said, I think the interview's over. I am the most joyful person in the world. I live here, I drive this, I'm on radio, I write books, blah, blah, and I got very defensive, right? Someone calls you out. If you get very defensive, there's a good chance they're correct and you're wrong. And then 3 weeks later, after that meeting with that woman, and when she left, I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I still love Maharishi. I'm not sure about you. But I still love Maharishi. She goes, he still loves you. He thinks you're great. And then 3 weeks later, Tuesday afternoon at 2:30, 1996, I awoke from another 4-day binge. 2:30. Totally wiped out. And this was not abnormal. And that night I looked in the mirror and I said, you have no joy. And your affirmations are a lie. And that was my wake-up call. That's when everything in my life changed because of Maharishi. You know? And I realized that I was being a parrot, that I was just telling what my gurus were telling me from 1980 and 1996, who I still love them all. I was following their words and repeating what they were saying. I was being a parrot, but it wasn't working in my life. Just like someone who wakes up and says, I'm earning $1 million this year that's earning $50,000, the odds of them having that happen is absolutely almost zero, unless they win the lottery. But then I call that a miracle. So it was an awakening, and I said, oh my God, all I'm doing is following the crowd. And it sounds good, and it feels good to have vision boards and affirmations. I'm with my soulmate, and I'm a size 2, and I am earning. It does. It's addictive. It's highly addictive. But I haven't met anyone where it's worked. Now, I've had miracles happen in my life, healing miracles, and I write about one of them in this book where I went to a monastery and I prayed with the monks. And at the end of 4 days in a monastery, where I was supposed to have major surgery on a knee, the knee healed itself. But here's something interesting. I never did an affirmation that my knee was healed. Isn't that funny? I did drive 2.5 hours in excruciating pain in the car to get to the monastery. I did hobble up and down steps every day for 4 days to be with the 22 monks. I hobbled down into the cafeteria where the food sucked worse than anything in the world and ate their food. I prayed. I went to 7 of their services a day for 4 straight days. I never missed a service. It was painful as hell getting there. I hobbled across the street to a grotto. Do you guys know what a grotto is? A grotto is like it's a shrine, and usually it has Mother Mary in it or Jesus Christ in it, but it's this like, you know, stone shrine, right? And so across the street from the monastery, you went down this wooded path, and there's gorgeous grottos of Christ on one side and Mother Mary on the other. I wrote prayer notes for my knee and stuck it in the wall like the millions of other notes in the wall, you know. But here's the interesting thing. And I did ask for a 10% change. I asked for a 10% healing in my knee. That was my prayer to God. Said, if I could just have a 10% healing, I'd be so grateful. If there's something that you could do to help my knee heal by 10%, that would take away so much of this pain, even 10%. And I did all of this work though, right? You notice all the steps of work? Got uncomfortable, drove uncomfortable, walked up and down steps that were uncomfortable, prayed, ate their crappy food, that was uncomfortable. I did everything possible, and then I just let it go. But I did a ton of action steps. And then on the last day, a woman I was dating at the time was with me, and I walked down these stairs and I said, I don't want to say anything to jinx this. Like, I mean, 50% of my pain is gone. This is freaking me out, right? And I go, I'm not going to say anything because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm driving home, I'm going, oh my God, my knee is like feeling better, right? Swear to God, I get home that night, I go to bed, I get up the next day, I said, you have got to be kidding me. I called the surgeon and the nurse answers and I go, hey, Betty, I'm canceling surgery. Oh God, David, you know, it took us 3 months to get you in. It's going to be another 4. I said, no, I don't need it. She goes, what'd you do? I said, I went to a monastery and prayed. She started laughing, right? You can hear her slapping the table, laughing. She goes, oh my God, you're so funny. We're going to keep you scheduled. I go, no, I swear to God, I don't need it. And I never had surgery. You know? Now that's a miracle to me. I did a lot of work for it, but it was a miracle. I never said an affirmation. My knee is completely healed. Fascinating. I did a lot of work to try to heal the knee, but there was no guarantee it was going to happen. So I just want us to look at the reality of change and to start to bring something in. Now let's say that you say, I want to double my income. I'm making $50,000, I want to go to 100. And let's say you do it in 3 months. Well, then let's up the ante. If you say I want to get to a size 2 and you get to a size 4 in 6 months and you go, geez, I can get to a size 2. I had my goal at a size 4. I'm going to... That's okay. We can just
That's
slip
your
it back up
passion
there.
showing.
Yes, I know I'm pounding stuff, right? Yeah. There we go. We'll get you back, Facebook. All of our Facebook livers. Okay, you can turn it this way a little bit. There you go. Even back the other way a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. So I want you to be open that you can up the ante and change it as you go, but let's create something, a pathway where we're saying, I am going to accomplish X, and it's going to make a big difference, but it's not unbelievably unrealistic. That's all I'm asking for. Okay, the next one. Oh, and so as a goal, go ahead and create an affirmation for some area of your life that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. That's a homework assignment, okay? Create an exciting, passionate, realistic affirmation as a homework assignment that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. We do want direction, you know, and it has to be specific. If we say things, if our affirmation is, I am healthier in the next 12 months, there's nothing to grab onto, right? I am wealthier. I am earning more money. There's nothing to grab onto. So we want it to be something specific that's measurable. Yes?
Does this have to also be part of that, your goals that we're listing and you picking the hardest one? Does it have to be linked together?
What would be the best?
I think that would be doing it together.
Okay.
Just trying to do too many things at the same time.
I like that idea. So we're going to choose the hardest goal that we don't want to go after, and we're going to make an affirmation about it.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. I love it. Perfect. Okay, gratitude. Now here's another thing that we changed. Up until 1996, we used to say, I am grateful for my 7 houses in Bali. I am grateful for my $1 million a year salary. I am grateful for my size 2 body when I'm a size 22. I am grateful for this incredible relationship while I'm single. Now, we used to teach this, right? And still taught today, I understand that. And so then I have to say, okay, well, let's see, that goes totally against Eckhart Tolle's teaching about being happy and present in the now, but I want to stretch it a little bit. I want to have fun with the gratitude. So what would be a way to get rid of the ridiculous statements that are lies, right? Lack of integrity. If we say, I am grateful for my $1 million I'm earning this year, and we're earning $50,000 or $100,000 a year, then that sounds like a lie to me. Does it sound like a lie to you? I'm single, but I'm saying I'm grateful that I'm now with my soulmate walking down the beach as we kick sand in each other's face. You know, what's that?
I'm not sure that's your soulmate.
I'm not sure that's your soulmate. Okay, but do you see where I'm going? Like, if we want to create gratitude statements that are lies, then we're out of integrity again. So what would be a gratitude statement that would be exciting and fun and passionate, but not a lie? Around any topic. Can anyone think of one? I am grateful for...
Oh, you want us to answer now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being alive.
Yeah. I am grateful for my girls. They give me the reason to live.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I like that. So then let's talk money again. Let's say you're at 50,000 and you want to earn 100,000. So you could say, I am grateful for the hard work I'm putting in every Monday through Sunday, doing steps I'd rather not do in the world of finances to bring my salary from $50,000 a year to 100. Do you see where we're going? So we're combining our own gratitude for the work we're doing to take that movement from 50 to 100. I am so grateful for the effort I'm putting in with my clean diet and exercise 6 days a week to move from the size 22 to the size 18 that I'm going to be at the end of the year. I'm grateful for doing work on a daily basis that I'd rather not do, proving I'm serious about creating greater success in life. So there's all, I'm sorry?
You're thanking yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the gratitude is about thanking ourselves for the effort that we're supposedly putting in, and then we better put the effort in. Now, we can also say I have gratitude for my children, I have gratitude for my partner, I have gratitude for my house, I have gratitude for my pool where I do my daily boosting. You know, like, and that would be Eckhart Tolle gratitude statements, where we're in the present, in the now, being grateful for what we have in this moment, and that's very powerful. Go ahead.
But this gratitude gives action.
Yeah.
So then you're heading towards your goal.
Yes, when we're talking about manifestation, that's always moving towards a goal, right? Now, you could have two different sets of gratitude. You could have gratitude for the house you live in, and then you could have gratitude for the work you're putting into to double your income. You could have gratitude for your current relationship, and you could have gratitude for the work you're putting in to be more patient in life. Gratitude, I think gratitude is crucial. I think going into the attitude of gratitude is powerful. But we're just changing it a little bit to be more focused in reality. So every morning in my rituals, I go through, I go through gratitude for family, clients, friends, my sobriety. I have incredible gratitude for my sobriety. This weekend, I have so much gratitude for you guys being here this weekend. You know, like, this is really joyful. To teach this course is really fun. I really enjoy it. And I have so much gratitude for the fact that you guys decided to hand over 20 hours of your life, because you could have chosen not to come. You could have chosen to do something else, but you didn't. So I have a lot of gratitude for each of you being. I have gratitude for your participation and sharing your knowledge and wisdom so everyone else can benefit, including myself. You know, like, gratitude is endless, and I believe we need to be spending a lot more time in it. And I think we can do the Eckhart Tolle gratitude, which is everything I just said. It's all present moment reality. That boosts self-confidence and self-esteem. And then gratitude for the goals we're working towards, how we're trying to change our lives, the lives of those around us, through the hard work we're going to start putting in 365 days a year to change the subconscious mind. I have gratitude that the subconscious mind can be changed if I'm willing to do what I'd rather not for 365 days in a row. That would be a great gratitude statement, right? So that's the mindset that we're trying to work with the course. And then the last is everything. The action steps are everything. After you get through your intentions and affirmations and your statements of gratitude, now we get to action steps. So action steps must be uncomfortable to begin with. If your action steps are not uncomfortable, we should not ever expect change. If action steps are effortless, then we should just pretty much expect our life to stay the same. They need to be measurable. They need to be put on a timeline. And what that means is that every Monday through Friday, from this time to this time, I'm going to do these uncomfortable steps, right? Measurable would be what time of day. Or, I'm sorry, measurable would be what were the actual action steps we're going to take. So the time of day could be 7 to 8:30 in the gym. And I'm going to do 45 minutes of strength training and 45 minutes of cardio. You know, like that would be measurable and timelined all mixed in together. But the steps need to be really specific. If we say, I'm going to become more patient, I'm going to work on my patience, there's nothing to measure there.
Unless you are using it against something that's always driving that patience.
Give me an example.
Let's say driving to work. I'm gonna be more patient driving to work by not, cutting people off and cursing along the route,
Okay?
And then just do the things that will help calm your mind while you're driving, like good music or, something like that.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So I've given this example before, and I do it every once in a while, but then I fail quite often. And that is, I can be quite an impatient driver. And when I want to challenge my patience, I get in the right-hand lane, and I shut up, and I follow.
Yeah.
And that is so hard for me to do, because I see an opening right now.
Yeah.
I know it's coming. And I see the rear view mirror, and I'm looking and I could get right.
Go right around them.
And then I slow back down and say, this is your practice of patience, right?
Stay within the speed limit.
Stay within this. Oh.
Or what if somebody drives 30?
Well, that's a great exercise, and you just stay behind them at 27. Yeah.
Hard.
But like now we're talking about changing the subconscious mind, right? The subconscious mind says they're driving underneath the speed limit. I need to get around them, even though we're supposed to be working on patience. Do you see how the subconscious starts coming in with justification, rationalization of how we can break it this one time? Well, they are going 27, for God's sake. It's 30. And by the way, those signs are simply recommendations. I'm just kidding. That's
You
how
go
I justify it.
45-ish.
Yeah,
Ish.
I just say those are just there. They're recommendations.
Go 10 over.
It's just a good idea to go that speed.
Right.
That's how I justify
They
it.
don't know what they're
More of a
saying.
guideline.
Yeah, it's a guideline versus an absolute.
Yeah.
You know? And then we could say nothing in this world is absolute. Everything is gray. Come on. There's no absolutes other than taxes and death. So let me just stretch that 45. But it is hard. But if we say we're going to be patient, then we have to create action steps that we could measure to say, yes, I'm being more patient. Otherwise, we're just blowing smoke and, right?
Yeah.
Good intentions, but
Makes
nothing's
sense.
going to change. Okay?
Right.
Questions on this? No?
No.
Okay, we're going to take a break for lunch.
Yay!
Wait a minute. This is recorded. I don't want to dissuade people by going, the whole class just erupted in cheers. They're going to lunch.
Food in my belly is
Okay,
good.
so we're going on to the next section in just a little while. Everyone on Facebook, great to have you with us. Everyone at home taking the course, this is a chance to take a big breath, go to the bathroom, grab something to eat, and we'll be back just momentarily. David Essel, TalkDavid.com.